Hello, in this short video I'm going to talk on the topic ionic and covalent bonds. My name is Francis Rinsang Puya, chemistry teacher, Nazareth Higher Secondary School. There are many kinds of bonds that hold molecules and atoms together. The two most simple types of bonds are ionic and covalent bonds. So in this short video we will distinguish the basic difference of ionic and covalent bonds. Firstly, let's take covalent bond. What is covalent bond? Covalent bond is a bond where two atoms share their electrons. So when two atoms are sharing electrons, they are called covalent bonds. Whenever atoms share their electrons, they share from their outermost shell of electrons only, which is called valence electrons. So what is outermost shell electrons? Let's take examples. This is structure of atoms. So inside there is nucleus. This nucleus composed of protons and neutrons. Protons is positive charge and neutrons is no charge, neutral, surrounded by electrons. So this is structure of atoms, and the last shell of electrons, this is called outermost shell of electrons. They are valence electrons. So whenever covalent bond form or whenever bonding are formed, they share or transfer electrons from valence electrons, this outermost shell of electrons only, not from inside. So let's take example chlorine. We know that chlorine has 17 atomic number, 17. So electronic configuration will be 287. The first cell will have 2 electrons, second cell will have 8 electrons, and third cell will have 7 electrons. So this third cell is the last cell of electrons for chlorine, which is valence electrons. So whenever bonding occurs between chlorine and some other atoms, electrons will transfer from this last cell of electrons only. So this is periodic table of the elements. We can see from here which one is alkali metals, alkaline earth metals, transitional metals, other metals, non-metals, and noble gases. So covalent bond usually occurs between two non-metal elements. Non-metal elements are green form. In the green form, we can include helium gas and metalloids also. Let's first take chlorine molecule as example. This is chlorine. Cl chlorine alone is not molecule, it is element only. When Cl and Cl combined, they form chlorine molecules. This is chlorine valence electrons 2, 4, 6, 7. As we have already discussed here, chlorine valence electrons is 7, C7. Here we put only 7, 2, 4, 6, 7. So both chlorine are sharing 1 electron each other to get 8 electrons for getting stable elements, for getting stable compounds. So when one chlorine share the other chlorine 1 electrons, they will have both 2, 4, 6, 8 electrons together, and they will form Cl2 molecule. Cl2 molecule. See, 2, 4, 6, 7. 2, 4, 6, 7. 1 electrons sharing each other, and they both have now 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. So they form Cl2 molecules. Cl2 molecules, and this is called non-polar covalent bond because both sides have same amount of electrons. 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. So both sides have same number of electrons. That's why they are called non-polar covalent bond. let's take another example, HCl. HCl, we know that hydrogen has only one atomic number, while chlorine has 17, for outermost shell 7 electrons. Now hydrogen 1 electrons and chlorine 1 electrons will share each other and they will form HCl molecules. Like this. Hydrogen has 1 electrons, chlorine has outermost 7 electrons. So for getting stable chlorine needs 1 electrons more for getting 8 electrons in the outermost shell. So when chlorine share 1 hydrogen, chlorine will have now 8 electrons and hydrogen also will have 2 electrons. For hydrogen, 2 electrons is enough for getting stable. Now we form HCl. This is called polar covalent bond. Polar covalent bond, because the electrons between the two atoms are not shared equally. Chlorine has 8 while hydrogen has 2, which is why this is called polar covalent bond. Now ionic bond. Unlike covalent bond, in ionic bond, a bond where there is a transfer of electrons between atoms. In covalent bond, they share electrons, but in ionic bond, they transfer electrons from one atom to the other. The atom which transfer electrons to the other atom is called cation positive, and the atom which receive electrons from the other, they are called anion negative. Let's take example NaCl. We know that sodium has 11 atomic number. So if we arrange like electronic configuration, we will have 2, 8, 1. For sodium, valence electrons will be 1 electrons only. For chlorine, as we have already discussed before, chlorine has 7 electrons in their outermost shell. So for getting stable, chlorine needs another 1 electrons that sodium will transfer to chlorine. See, this is sodium. Sodium electrons, 1 electrons will move to chlorine, and chlorine will have now 8 electrons in their outermost shell. So we will get chlorine 8 electrons and sodium also in the outermost shell 8 electrons. Together they both will form NaCl compound now. For concluding remarks, covalent bond is sharing of electrons. Sharing. They share electrons. Covalent bonds share electrons and they form here H2O compound. Hydrogen, 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen share electrons each other, while in ionic bond they transfer electrons. NaCl, Na transfer 1 electrons to chlorine. We get Na, the one who transfer is positive and the one who receive is negative. So ionic bond is transfer of electrons to the other atoms. Thank you.